What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Wager Alarm. I'm Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. And oh, baby, it's week 0 of the college football season. And Craig and I are back here on the live streams, ready to help you guys make a few bucks coming up for week 0. Craig, how you doing, man?
Doing well, Howard. We made it. It's here. College football, week 0. We had to. When did we start college football last year? Was it September, October? It was very late because of all the craziness. But here we are. We got 5 games on Saturday. What's interesting is that normally, Howard, these are games we would just never even talk about or touch. It's
Right.
like we just be who cares about these games? But it's exciting to have it back again, and so. We're going to go over a couple of games, and we'll take a look at odds for one of the conference championships with one of the teams that's playing in it. And then next week, we have some really big games in college football, some really fun games. Alabama and Miami and Clemson and Georgia, Sunday night games, Monday night games. And the following week, we got the NFL. So this is the appetizer. Make no mistake about it. Next week is the main course, week 1, and then it is all systems go from now to the Super Bowl. So good thing you're getting a week off here coming up. You deserve it.
Right? I always got to do it. I take that week off before the NFL season starts. Got to recharge the batteries a little bit, get ourselves going. They're adding an extra week to the NFL season, Craig. I'm not properly conditioned for that yet.
Listen, try covering the Marlins for 6 months and then get back to me after that, after seeing how that goes with you.
Woo.
Still recovering.
Spicy.
Still recovering from that season.
All right. Well, let's get to some week 0. Week 0. It sounds so weird, but all right, let's get to some college football action coming up here. Right? It feels so good to be able to say this. Let's talk about Illinois against Nebraska. It's a 7-point spread here. Nebraska's for the favorites. When you and I were talking about betting college football, one of the key things that you kept bringing up was who's returning starters.
Sure. And
how many are there and whatever. So let's talk Illinois. Let's talk Nebraska. Where are we at?
All right. So look, again, normally in a situation where we're going to have a full board of games, I'm not sure that we would address a game like this. But for those of you who have watched our streams, I think this is our 4th year doing this. You know that we both spend a lot of time diving into the odds and diving into trends and really diving into teams. And it's definitely very evident early on in the season which teams have more experience. And that changes, and then the odds change. And as you get to the middle and the late season in college football, some of the younger players are not freshmen anymore. It's like they've played a whole year. They've been to their mini camps and things like that with the school. But in this case, you basically have 2 teams that are sort of heading nowhere this year in college football. Let's be honest. Nebraska a couple of years ago, Howard, they hired Scott Frost from the University of Central Florida, who did a phenomenal job with UCF and built them into like a powerhouse for a few years. Honestly, it's just they were not playing in a Power 5 conference, so they could not play for the national championship. A lot of people were upset with that. And then you have Illinois, who honestly, Howard, it has just been so long since they've been a good team. So what did they do a few years ago? They decided it'd be a good idea to bring in Lovie Smith as their head coach, the former Bears head coach. And you know what? Lovie had his moments. I think Illinois covered a game or 2 for us, Howard, like getting 23 or 24. But in general, it did not go well. So they hired Brett Bielema, and Bielema is known for coaching Wisconsin and doing a really good job and then just bailing. Like, the team was really good at Wisconsin, and he just was like, got a lot more money to go to the SEC. So he went to Arkansas. And you know what? Arkansas, the first year that Brett Bielema was there, they were pretty good. And then he was really, really disliked, and it just went downhill. So in terms of the teams this year, Illinois, they have 18 starters coming back. They were 2-6 last year. One of the games that Illinois did win, though, last year was against Nebraska. They beat them 41-23. The teams are more or less the same. Again, it'll be a different strategy, I think, big time with Illinois, as Bielema is definitely a running coach. So you're going to see a lot of that, I think, with the Fighting Illini. Line opened up Nebraska -10 months ago. I last week and the week before, I did see some 8s and 8.5s. It is now down to 7. and I do think the movement is going toward the right side here. The game is in Illinois. Nebraska clearly has the best player on their field. Their quarterback in Martinez, Adrian Martinez, 2 years ago looked like a Heisman candidate. Last year he was benched. The guy who they brought in for him, he transferred and left because they wanted to give Martinez another shot to be the quarterback. And he runs that sort of wacky style UCF offense that they're trying to run at Nebraska. But Howard, they don't have the athletes in Nebraska that they do in Florida. So Nebraska is more of a public team. I certainly think that they could win this game. And in terms of rankings, where they are nationally, I think that probably Nebraska is about 30 or 40 teams better than Illinois. But, dude, this is week 0. Like, what do we really know going into this week? I am all about taking points. I don't believe that Nebraska blows out Illinois by any means. And Bielema, I think, is probably coaching for his coaching life here at this point. He has got to turn around Illinois or he's not going to get another head coaching gig in college football. So let's take Illinois +7 tomorrow afternoon.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Next game we're looking at. Here's a team that, early season, you like dipping into the pool here. Hawaii. All right. They just seem to be a team that we talk about real early on, and then we don't talk about it all for the rest of the season. Going up against UCLA, the Bruins are a 17.5-point favorite right now. Chip Kelly, I mean, you want to talk about a guy who's now coaching for his life, right?
True.
I mean,
yeah.
It's been bad. Let's put it this way. It's what, 0-6 outside the conference?
Yeah. No, I mean, I have nothing to argue with you on that. I can't find a silver lining there. Before UCLA, he was coaching the Half Moon Bay 49ers, right, at the time. And that did not go well. Did he last 2 years with San Francisco? I don't think he did. Did he?
No, he only went, it was like 1 year in San Francisco. Is it 2 years in Philly that he was at?
But in Philly, he was actually okay the first year.
And the players were okay.
And then he wanted full control, of the roster and everything. And then things went sideways. And then they got him out. They brought in Peterson. Howie Roseman took back over GM. They won the Super Bowl after Chip Kelly left. So Chip Kelly goes to UCLA. He makes a lot of promises. I'm gonna run that Oregon offense that I had 5 years ago. We're gonna do it here at UCLA. It has not happened. It has not worked for them. So this is make or break for him. I don't know what the number is in terms of wins that he has to get, but if they have a losing record, UCLA will have a new head coach next season. I think that that's probably fair to say. As you mentioned, he has not won a non-conference game there, and they have a game coming up very quickly. I believe it is the following week or the week after against LSU. So that game is clearly a monster game. I wouldn't say that you're going to look ahead in week 0. It's like you're kind of looking toward this. So I've heard people say that this week. I think that's probably a little bit much because you are preparing for the first game of the season. I think look aheads happen when you get to the middle of the season or
right. Yeah.
But
it is the exact same thing that I thought of. I was like, really? Are we looking ahead at LSU already? You can't blow off Hawaii.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, maybe second half. That's the kind of thing. And look, you're getting 17.5 points here. So I guess you have to ask that question. UCLA's quarterback, when we talked about the Heisman Trophy Award a couple of weeks ago, and you can catch those over at WagerAlarm. We talked about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's a Heisman Trophy candidate. He's one of the best players he may be the best quarterback in the conference. The quarterback of USC probably. A tick better maybe. Keaton Slovis, we're going to talk about him in a few minutes too. But I think if Hawaii stays in the game, they have a good chance to keep it competitive. And I don't think that these two teams are that far separated in terms of talent. This feels like a lot of points in the first week. And my theory on betting these games, especially in week 1, week 2, week 3 of the college football season, it is true. You're going to see a lot of big schools, Power 5 schools, play against the Cupcakes. They're going to be -30, -40, whatever, and they're going to cover. And that happens. Now, you may be surprised, depending on where you're betting, that those games are called circled sometimes, meaning that you can't even put a max bet in on those kind of games. They just won't take it.
Right.
But Hawaii is not a cupcake team, and they don't play great outside of the island, but feel like this is a lot of points. I think it's going to be lower scoring than people think. And again, I'm not a big believer in what UCLA has done. So, I look at their odds to win the Pac. We're going to talk about that in a bit. And they're not even really even close to the top. So I don't see them as a surprise team this year at all. And I don't think Hawaii is great either. But I think that Hawaii keeps it close. I don't think they win, but I think we're going to see some surprises tomorrow. So we'll take the points again here, plus 17.5.
Yeah, keep it within 3. I mean, it's a 3-score game. I'll definitely take that this early on, especially with the way UCLA has been with that. All right, well, you kept saying we're talking about the odds to win that Pac-12 championship. Let's do it. Let's talk about it right now. So, looking at the odds, these are over from FanDuel Sportsbook. Pac-12 championship winner. Oregon is the favorite, obviously at 2.5 to 1. Washington at 3.5 to 1. Arizona State 4 to 1. USC 4 to 1. Utah 6 to 1. And then your boys, UCLA, Chip Kelly, 12 to 1 to win the Pac-12 there. I mean, listen, it's easy to be like, yeah, Oregon, of course, but are you getting any legit value on that, or are you looking deeper?
It's interesting that a team to win its own conference at 12 to 1, Howard, is a 17.5-point favorite over a fair team in Hawaii this week. And that should tell you something, too, that, why is UCLA the 6th best team in the Pac-12 as a almost 3-touchdown favorite? Like, it doesn't add up really there either. But they play Saturday, so we can get into it a little bit here. I like USC at 4 to 1. I think they're a little bit of a sleeper going into the season. And the one thing that I looked at in going through the Pac this year, it's really shocking, by the way, the team across the way from you, Stanford, boy, they're supposed to be in for a really rough year. I don't know what's going to happen with them. But normally you'd see 5-6 teams, and Howard Stanford's always what? 3rd, 4th, 2nd, 1st. Usually, I guess they're just going to have a down year. I'm not sure. But Keaton Slovis, he's the quarterback of USC. They really have struggled with Clay Helton at the helm at head coach. He's also someone that is going to have a lot of pressure on him too. A lot of people thought that he'd be gone, but he's back for another season. Their offensive line, 4 returning starters there. I do think they're going to run the ball more, and if they can protect Slovis, I think they have a good shot. And the other part about USC's Pac-12 schedule is that it looks like on paper, and again, things change just like when we talk about the NFL. On paper, they may have the easiest schedule of any of the teams that we just showed you there between Oregon, Washington, Arizona State, Utah, and UCLA. So with USC not playing Oregon in the regular season and playing some of these other teams, and they do play Notre Dame. So regardless if they win or lose to Notre Dame, Howard, it doesn't matter because they're not in the conference. So they can lose that game. We're not talking about the national championship. We're just talking about the Pac.
All right.
So they basically, if they take care of their games at home in that conference and even lose one, even if Oregon goes undefeated, since they play on the other side of the Pac, they're going to play them for the championship, and you're getting 4 to 1 odds. So legitimately speaking, you could bet USC, hope they win all those games except for the one against Notre Dame. Who knows if they may even beat Notre Dame? Who knows? And then in the Pac-12 championship game, the odds to win the Pac at that point on FanDuel, Howard, you're going to be able to get USC at 2 to 1, right? So you've basically upped your odds a lot higher from 4 to 2, maybe even less, and you can hedge at that point, and you could take Oregon on the money line and bet against them and make money either way. So that's kind of my thinking here is take the team on the other side that doesn't play Oregon, that has the easy schedule. And by the way, Oregon's got a new quarterback this year. We don't really know what he's going to look like yet either. So the odds tell me that this is pretty wide open here. You have 4 or 5 teams that have a shot. Not all the conference odds look like this on FanDuel right now. There's overwhelming favorites basically in every conference. This is not one of them. So let's take a stab at USC plus 4,000, which means 4 to 1.
4,000 or 400?
400. 4,000 would be 40 to 1, and we would not do the show anymore. We'd retire on our $1 million bet. Thank you for correcting me.
We'd be doing that stream from our yacht in the south of France.
We'd be done.
What? We would be done.
We would retire.
We're like, okay, we're done. We're finished. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so that's what we've got going on now. So we've got games tomorrow, Saturday. We've got Pac-12 championship, a little nice move there with USC. Let's take a quick look ahead to a couple of games actually on Thursday.
Yeah.
Because we do these live streams obviously every Friday, but we want to be able to give you maybe like an early lean. We got 2 games here. Ohio State, 13.5-point favorites at Minnesota. Boise State, they are 6-point underdogs heading to UCF. How do you like these two?
Right. So I assume that during the regular season, we'll do what we normally do, which is we'll recap our NFL picks and then preview both college and pro. I think we did with Tuesday, Friday the last few years. I believe that's what we did. I know that you're off next week. So I wanted to at least throw out the games that are happening early in the week, because I'll definitely be back here next Friday previewing the Friday, Saturday, Sunday games. So the early games this week are interesting. The 2 best games, I think, on Thursday. There's a lot of Thursday games, by the way. Ohio State at Minnesota. If you see our previous streams, I am a fan of the Gophers this season. I think they're going to have a good year. This would be a huge game toward their win total if they could somehow pull this off, Howard. And I don't think they can, because Ohio State, is in all likelihood going to win the Big Ten, probably advance to the Final Four. The college football playoff, but they are 2 touchdown favorites. I would love to see Minnesota just play well in this, even if they don't win, because of the tough season that they had last year with all those guys being out with COVID. So that will be a packed house of fans. It will be insane. You talk about a first game of the year on a Thursday night. College football on Thursday night. Everyone knows this, but we've probably forgotten because it's been so long. With the fans being there, insane things happen on those Thursday nights in college football, and maybe this is one of them. Maybe
so
Minnesota.
Are you saying take the points in Minnesota?
I'm gonna lean that way, but I'm not gonna tell you to take your vendor money and throw it on there. I'm not gonna do that. I can't go that far. And then Boise State at UCF. This is kind of a critical time for Central Florida as well. They have not been that great over the last year or two. Some changes may be in store for them eventually. I'm not sure. Boise State is always a very competitive team. There are some people who feel that they will be down this season. But the key in that game is obviously UCF is going to run that offense all over the field. And can Boise State's athletes keep up with UCF? They do have better athletes than some people think. But in general, they're not getting the top kids in the country. So I think there's a chance that this is a pretty high-scoring game, so I'll look at the total maybe on Thursday night. But those are the 2 marquee games, Howard, on Thursday night, and and then next weekend you basically have any good game that you want to see. You have it. Clemson and Georgia, like season on the line in week 1, like it doesn't get any better than that. Here in South Florida, Miami, Alabama. I mean, I guess. It feels like a big game here, but realistically, does Miami even stand a chance against Alabama? I don't think so. And there's other good games as well. I think there's a Labor Day game too. We'll look more into that on Friday. But hope you have a good time off. That's basically our look at college football for the week.
All right, sick. Well, that sounds good. Sounds exciting. Now I'm like, I'm excited to be going away next week, but now I'm like, ooh. These live streams have always been, one of my absolute favorite things to do. And
me too.
So now, maybe I'll make an appearance or something like that. My wife will kill me.
No. You need the time off. Look, just if you have time to pop on Clemson, Georgia, my guess is that'll be worth your 30 minutes of time on the break. The rest of the games, I don't know that they have national championship relevance. Only if there's a big upset. But realistically, Clemson can lose that game, and they probably can still play for the national championship because their schedule in general is always really easy. Georgia, I don't know. Georgia is going to have to go through the SEC again, and the SEC will produce a 2-loss team probably as the 4 seed in the college football playoff, but it doesn't guarantee it. So Georgia would be up against it if they lost the first game of the season. But yeah, I can't wait till next weekend. I'm trying to get hyped for tomorrow, but truthfully, it's great to see games. It's going to be weird seeing fans back for the first time in 2 years. But my awareness is up right now, Howard. I wouldn't say that I'm all in. on the games tomorrow.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, I might just push all in here. I mean, like, just to recap for everybody: Illinois +7 against Nebraska, Hawaii +17.5 against UCLA. You want to throw down a little Pac12 championship winner here? Check out the 4-1 odds on USC. And then our leans here for next week. Nice little early leans. Minnesota +13.5 in the craziness. UCF laying 6 to Boise State. It's going to do it for us here today. We'll definitely, Craig will be back next week. Who he's paired up with, well, we'll just leave that to being a nice surprise for all of you.
And me.
And you too, Craig. Big thanks to John and Pemba, our producer for today's show. Always great time. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Wager Alarm. We'll catch you next time.